guys, it's a Proud Cat Lover. So today I'm going to be doing some talking about safe substrates for crested geckos. So I'm actually not going to be holding any specific gecko because I figured I might as well do this while I'm feeding the babies. So I'm not going to be looking at the phone or my camera, I should say, the entire time, but I will talk. So when it comes to safe substrates, you have the most popular one, which is Eco Earth out there, or a lot of people just call it cocoa fiber. And what Eco Earth is pretty much you can either buy it in a brick, which is cheaper, and you can add water to it and inflate it yourself, or you can get it in a bag that's already has it expanded, except it's a little bit cheaper to do a brick, just because when you're buying the bag they charge more because, ooh, it's in a bag and it's dry already, instead of you having to wet it down and let it dry yourself. But of course that's not really that big of a deal, so I just buy the brick whenever I get Eco Earth. What I of course use is paper towels, only because I have females that are breeding and I have lay boxes that their Eco Earth is in. So I want them to lay in their lay boxes and not just anywhere in the tank, so that's why they have paper towels right now. And I stopped using Eco Earth just because I have natural wood in my tanks and it was causing the wood to grow mold on it, because when the Eco Earth would be in there to help with humidity and stuff, it would make the mold start growing on the wood. So otherwise Eco Earth is not going to start growing mold on its own if it doesn't have anything like that touching it, or if you have like plants in there. But I think there's like natural organic soils that you're supposed to buy if you're going to have live plants, or you can like mix Eco Earth with the soil or something. But Eco Earth by itself does not have enough nutrients in it for a plant. But anyway, Eco Earth, like I said, is a safe substrate. Paper towels are also obviously safe. They're actually what a lot of people suggest using for babies, because babies should not be kept on loose substrate because they can actually eat it and become impacted. Obviously as adults they're going to be big enough to pass this stuff naturally, but as babies you want to just keep them on paper towels. The least popular one that's the most pain in the butt to keep and use for crested geckos is the Astroturf stuff, like the reptile carpet or whatever. It holds bacteria really bad, and after you have it for like a week or two, you just have to toss it and get more. And I tried using it for a little bit just to see how it worked, and it was pretty gross. Like after my crested geckos had it for about a week, and I had already cleaned it once because I had taken it out, rinsed it with hot water, let it dry, and by then it was kind of doing weird stuff. And so I put it back in there, and it just got to where it would smell gross no matter how much you cleaned it. And it would kind of get flimsy, like it was going to fall apart. So it just wasn't worth keeping. And where I've read that it can hold bacteria really bad, and of course the smell was gross, it's just not really worth using unless you want to spend the money to buy a new roll of reptile carpet every time. So obviously the top choices, in my opinion, are the Eco Earth or cocoa fiber or the paper towels. Either is fine. Of course, Eco Earth is more or less used to hold humidity in the tank, as where paper towels is mainly used for babies, but I'm using it just because I have breeding females. I would like to go back to using Eco Earth just because it encourages digging, which is a natural thing that crested geckos enjoy doing. If the humidity is too low, they like to bury their bodies in the cocoa fiber to where their heads just poke out, which is a sign that you need to bump up the humidity, because normally they shouldn't be doing that. Now sometimes if you have a weird gecko, they might bury themselves just for the heck of it if your humidity is fine in the tank. So now I'll talk about substrate that is not safe, that you should not use with your crested geckos. Number 1, do not use fish aquarium pebbles, rocks, whatever you call them. Don't use rocks at all for a substrate. First off, if the crested gecko falls, imagine how much that's going to hurt when you belly flop onto rocks. It's just no, don't keep them on rocks. Second of all, rocks would be really gross to have to clean poop and stuff out of, and you would most likely have to just throw them away after a while because they would get all gross. Because you know how rocks get when they have something sitting on them for a long time, this liquid stuff, and then you get all slimy and gross. But no, just don't use rocks. Second one, do not use wood chips, wood bark, wood at all. Don't use the shavings, and definitely don't use pine, because pine in general for any animal is not safe. I don't even know why they make pine cat litter, because I saw that at the reptile. I saw that at the pet store the other day, and I was like, really? Pine and aspen. Well, actually, no, aspen's the safe one. Pine is the dangerous one, but there's another one. Cedar. Cedar's the other one that you cannot use, because pine and cedar can excrete, I think is the word I'm looking for, oils from the wood. Even after they've been dried, there's still a chance that they could do that. And so it's just not worth risking the health of a, let's say, snake or anything like that. Just don't use that kind of bedding. And definitely not for a crested gecko. Don't use any type of, like, hamster bedding, I suppose I could say, like paper bedding. Like newspaper, I don't think would hurt anything, because that would kind of fall under the paper towel area. I just wouldn't use it because newspaper bleeds ink sometimes, and ink can be bad for their skin if they absorb it or anything. And newspaper I just think would kind of get into smelling weird after a while. Paper towels, it's just so much easier, because you can definitely see when they've been pooping because it's white. As where newspaper most of the time is going to be, you know, have color on it and stuff. So, but, yeah, like I said, don't use any type of rodent bedding, like, you know, the cottony stuff. Like, you can use it for snakes. I've found that you can use the Carefresh all-natural paper bedding that's white for snakes, but don't use anything like that for crested geckos. One, they definitely could potentially eat something like that, and two, it's just, I don't think you're supposed to use stuff like that for them. Just one, mainly because where they could potentially try to eat it. And I used to have Ember, for sure probably will never go back on Eco Earth, just because of the fact that she tried eating Eco Earth one time. Like, she literally lunged at it and took a mouthful, and she wouldn't let me open her mouth to get it out. So I was like freaking out when that happened. So she's definitely never going back on Eco Earth, because she lunges at stuff because she thinks she sees things like bugs. But, so anyway, guys, that's kind of the main stuff of, obviously, don't use sand. I'm going to add that real quick. Just don't use sand for any reptile. It's kind of like the fish tank pebbles. Just don't use them. Definitely don't use the sand. It's just been the main killer of almost all the reptiles, and I was about to grab my spray bottle and forgot that I'm propping my phone up with that. Anyway, guys, that's kind of conclude this video for safe and unsafe reptile substrate. You can see my little baby right here that I've been feeding this whole time. You can see just how long it takes me to feed each one of these babies, because it's been 8 minutes. Took that long to feed this guy. Of course, you guys are, it's not going to be a full 8 minutes for you guys, because I'm going to clip some of these parts, because I'm, you know, outtakes and whatnot. So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and make sure to check out the other care videos in this series that I'm doing. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.